Fossil fuels. To use or not to use? That is the question. For many people, when they think of fossil fuels, they think of the oil, coal, and natural gas that powers our electricity, fuels our cars, and keeps our homes warm in the winter and cool in the summer. But in reality, we use fossil fuels for so much more. These raw materials are also used to make petrochemicals. 99% of petrochemicals come from oil and natural gas. To answer the question of whether or not we should continue to use fossil fuels and to better understand our choices, we have to start with more questions. First, why do we need so much energy? Every country in the world needs energy to create a clean and healthy environment for its citizens. So how do those who don't have access to secure, reliable, and accessible energy improve their standards of living to meet those of more developed countries? How do we help others enter the middle class? The answer is we need to produce a lot more energy from all the sources we have available, not less. We need more solar, more wind, more hydropower, more nuclear, and yes, more fossil fuels. Plus, just as fossil fuels feed technological innovations in healthcare, agriculture, and many other sectors, they also fuel new ways to produce more energy. Advances in solar, wind, nuclear, and hydropower are made possible by the energy and materials supplied from fossil fuels. Why are fossil fuels such a large part of our energy mix? Fossil fuels are better than other sources when it comes to providing us with energy for two key reasons: energy density and reliability. Let's start with energy density, which is simply the amount of energy per unit weight or per unit volume. Fossil fuels are incredibly energy dense, which means you can get a lot of energy from a small amount. For example, 1 gallon of gasoline provides the same amount of energy as 5 logs or 13,000 AA batteries. Because of this, petroleum fuels are more convenient to transport, store, and handle, all of which contribute to keeping the cost down for the customer and making them more affordable. Then there's reliability. Power can't be available only sometimes at a hospital, school, or at your house. Fuel must be available when we need it. No other energy source is currently as constant and reliable as those derived from fossil fuels. Why are petrochemicals so crucial to our lives? One word: versatility. Hydrocarbons are incredibly versatile in that they can be combined and made into other chemical compounds like butadiene and propylene to make products that we use every day like computers, as well as the ones that we don't like Kevlar and artificial heart valves. But can we continue using fossil fuels in a way that is environmentally sustainable? Figuring out how we equitably supply energy and essential products and technology to the world in an environmentally sustainable way is not easy stuff. But we know that innovation is the key, and the real magic of the fossil fuel and petrochemical industries is their role in driving innovations that solve seemingly impossible problems. We have untold amounts of potential hydrocarbon sources, over 10 times more than we've used in the history of civilization. Think about the problem of resource depletion. While fossil fuels are by definition a finite supply, advances in technology have led to the discovery of more crude oil and natural gas fields and have allowed for the production of crude oil and natural gas from sources like shale. And we've been able to optimize our existing supply by producing more efficient fuels even more efficiently. As fossil fuel use has gone up in the U.S., concentrations of air pollutants have gone down. Preventing spills, pipeline breaks, and emissions requires vigilance and care, just as with any industrial process. But through innovation, regulation, and a commitment to environmental stewardship, industry has helped to make our air and water cleaner than it has been in more than 50 years. And the big one, climate change. It's real, and man-made carbon dioxide emissions play a role. The refining and petrochemical industries have focused on reducing these emissions. In 2016 alone, the oil and gas industry reduced CO2 emissions by 57.1 million metric tons, the equivalent of taking 12.1 million cars and light trucks off the road. This result is the product of an investment of almost $600 billion. This brings us back to our original question: fossil fuels, to use or not to use? The answer is that if we believe in a future in which everyone on the planet has access to our modern standards of healthcare, clean water, and plentiful food, we must use more fossil fuels as well as other energy sources to get there. And that won't come at the sacrifice of our planet. Because whenever faced with great challenges, we will do what we always have done: innovate, solve problems, and make the world better. That's what progress is.